December 17, 1903, was the day when the Wright brothers made their first historic flight. At that time, humans could not have imagined that soon they would fly through the skies like birds, and journeys of hundreds of miles would be completed, in hours instead of days. Then, in 1914, with the invention of passenger aircraft, not just one or two but hundreds of people began traveling together through the skies. In just a few decades, the aviation industry made astonishing progress and brought a revolution worldwide. This revolutionary invention not only provided convenience to people, but, with the help of modern technology, continued to improve, and larger aircraft were developed. Today, there is hardly anyone in the world who hasn't seen an airplane. But have you ever thought about what happens to these planes when they become old and unusable or are no longer needed? Are these out-of-service aircraft simply left at airports, or are they discarded? In this video, you will learn all about this. As you know, not every aircraft can be parked in a corner of the airport when it becomes obsolete due to its size, nor is the climate everywhere suitable for preserving them. Besides this, parking aircraft at airports incurs heavy fees. To preserve the engines and other machinery of a plane, a large area and favorable climate are required. Such places where retired or decommissioned planes are stored are called airplane boneyards or aircraft graveyards. These boneyards are not only the final resting place for unusable aircraft, but also the locations where some planes are restored and made airworthy again. If a plane needs to be parked for a long time with the intent of using it in the future, it is parked in these boneyards rather than regular airports. Although many countries in the world have these boneyards, the largest aircraft graveyard in the world is the Davis-Monthan Air Force Boneyard, located in the United States. This boneyard is also known as the Aerospace Maintenance and Regeneration Group, or AMARG. This boneyard spans 2,600 acres and houses approximately 4,400 aircraft, including military, passenger, cargo planes, NASA research planes, and various private jets. The Davis-Monthan Boneyard is located in the U.S. state of Arizona, in a dry desert area. Not only this boneyard, but all others are built in similarly arid regions. Do you know why such areas are chosen for these graveyards? As we mentioned, just like humans, machines also require suitable and favorable weather conditions. That's why boneyards are established in areas with ideal weather for long-term aircraft storage. This region consists of rocky, dry, and hard terrain, so even heavy aircraft do not sink into the ground, remaining standing for years without damage. Additionally, this area receives only about 11 inches of rainfall annually, which means very low humidity, thus reducing the risk of aircraft parts and machinery rusting. This aircraft graveyard was not always a boneyard. It was originally an airport established in 1919. In 1927, it was named Davis-Monthan Field. Davis and Monthan were two pilots from the city of Tucson who lost their lives during a battlefield mission in World War I. In May 1946, when World War II was coming to an end, a problem arose regarding where to store the unusable and damaged aircraft from the war. At that time, the U.S. had thousands of aircraft, and storing them safely was a huge challenge. Initially, these aircraft were kept at various airfields across the U.S., and some were stored at Davis-Monthan Airfield as well. About 800 fighter jets were kept here initially. In addition to these, some historic aircraft were also stored here, which were later transferred to museums. These historic planes included special aircraft used by the U.S. Air Force, such as the Enola and Bockscar. Enola was the bomber that dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima, and Bockscar dropped the bomb on Nagasaki. Both planes are now housed in the U.S. Air Force Museum, where they remain on display to this day. For nearly 20 years after WQ2, the Davis-Monthan Airport wasn't officially designated a boneyard, it remained a regular airport. In 1965, it was converted into the Military Aircraft Storage and Disposition Center, where decommissioned and surplus Air Force planes were shifted. After the Vietnam War in 1970, around 6,000 more aircraft were brought here, and it was formally named the Aerospace Maintenance and Regeneration Center, AMARC. The name was updated to AMARG in 2007, changing the C to a G. However, people still often refer to it as Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. An interesting fact about this boneyard is that under an agreement between the U.S. and Russia, nuclear-capable B-52 aircraft were denuclearized and parked here. B-52 is a bomber capable of carrying nuclear warheads. According to the treaty, one wing of the aircraft is removed and placed in front of it to visibly demonstrate that the aircraft is disarmed. The U.S. and Russia verify these steps through satellite observation. Currently, AMARC houses nearly 80 different types of aircraft, including passenger, military, private jets, jumbo jets, and retired NASA shuttles. Over 800 personnel work here for maintenance. Most of the staff are retired military personnel, along with civilian engineers and mechanical staff. When an aircraft is brought to AMARG, its documentation is first thoroughly reviewed. These documents contain all the details about the aircraft. After that, oil and all liquids are drained from the engines and fuel tanks. The aircraft's parts are then cleaned using various chemicals. After internal cleaning, a black chemical is applied to the outer surface, followed by a white reflective chemical layer that reflects sunlight, allowing the aircraft to be preserved for a long time. Some aircraft that may be reactivated in the future are also covered with special protective covers to shield them from harsh weather. Aircraft in this boneyard are categorized into 4 groups. Category 1. Fully functional planes that are parked here for long-term storage and may be reactivated and returned when needed. Category 2. Planes parked for short-term storage. They may be sent out when needed or reclassified. Category 3. Aircraft used as a source of spare parts for other planes. Usable components are salvaged. Category 4. Completely unusable planes. Usable parts are removed and the rest is scrapped. Most boneyards are closed to the public. However, what's interesting about this one in Arizona is that it is open to the public. Anyone in the world can visit. Visitors are thoroughly screened and are not allowed to leave the special buses that tour the area. Since airplanes now exist in almost every country, many nations have established their own boneyards. Because the U.S. has the most aircraft in the world, it also has the most boneyards. Outside the U.S., countries like the UK, Russia, Australia, France, Netherlands, Spain, and Canada also operate aircraft graveyards. Teruel Airport in Spain is the largest boneyard in Europe, with the EU capacity to store 250 aircraft at once.